turning on OBS because we don't record, and this is going to be good. Okay, let me get the mic up here. This is going to be good. You know how I know it's going to be good? I did this whole video yesterday. It sucks because I was on here for so long. Um, this is the entertainment district, so I always try to find new people to piggyback off to talk about what they're talking about, and it was cool. I came across them. I really liked their idea. Um, I'll play it, and I was stuck on a bunch of ideas, and I talked for hours and hours to myself. I looked up things. I thought it was like 30. I think I checked it when it was like 20 something, and I was like, all right, only a little bit longer. And I just kept going deeper, deeper, and deeper. And by the time I was done, it was like an hour long video, and I was like, I need to redo it because if anybody who does watch it, they're gonna be like, what the hell? And so many times I stop to look up things, and I'll get to that why. But let's hear their challenge, and we'll go from there.
Marvel gives you $250 million to create a movie, any character.
Marvel.
You cannot bring anyone back to life. You can't step on the toes of any movie currently, and there will not be a sequel. Who are you choosing? That's happening in the Marvel Universe right now.
I'm doing a Hulk movie.
And I can't. And you said I can't.
So with that being said, I'm like, cool. This is a cool challenge. Or what I took from, you can't step on any toes. I figure it's anything that links to something else that's been done. That's how I'm looking at it. And you can't do anything that would mess up if they're going to bring in someone from there. So it got really hard. It got really, really hard. And I went through people that I would love to do. And the problem is, a lot of things I was thinking of, there's one easy one, real easy. A lot of the ones I was thinking of, I want to see more than one movie of it. I like to see extras. It's hard. So let's play them a little bit longer. One dude said the Hulk already, but
no, that's stepping on toes of Universal.
What? They don't have a movie though.
They own the rights, and they're the reason why
They
Marvel,
still do.
They still do.
I thought they lost the right.
What happened with Hulk? Hulk is under Universal for distribution, not like the full rights. I think Marvel has the rights, but distribution, the way it has to be sold, it has to be through Universal. So that's why Marvel could get around that loophole by putting him in other movies and not making it a Hulk movie. So just clearing that up. So it would still be stepping on toes, and it wouldn't even matter with the whole idea of, oh, someone else owns it. You'd be stepping on toes. Hulk's in a story right now. He's in a story. He's going to come out on a brand new day. You'd be ruining something, and it wouldn't work. So they want you to think of something fresh. From what I'm getting, this whole challenge is digging deep in your superhero repertoire, and that's how you're supposed to do it. That's how I took it, and I was really serious about it. So going to Hulk, and first of all, Hulk doesn't need one movie. Hulk would have more movies. To be honest with you, I don't have desire really to have a Hulk movie. I like him with other people a lot. You can hate me all you want. The Edward Norton one really bores me. Tim Ross great in it. I like the fight with Abomination. I don't like the Hulk look a lot. People loved it, but they made it look nothing like Norton, so it really disconnected for me. Edward Norton's just, I'm not the biggest fan. He always seems like a dickhead in a lot of things, like outside of when he does interviews and stuff like that. Then I did hear he was kind of a punk on set, and he wanted to take over the movie, make it his movie, and yeah, that's not going to happen under Marvel. So anyways, this guy says Hulk can't do Hulk. It just can't be done.
They're literally the reason why Marvel hasn't done a solo.
I know that was before.
I'm making the most fire Blade movie.
Blade is an option, but you'll be stepping on toes because we already have a Blade cast. Are we ever going to get that Blade? Who knows? Do we want it? Yes. and his voice has already been in the Eternals already. So technically, you'd be stepping on toes because they have plans for him. Now, will they use those plans? No. But could you make it? Not the moment. You just couldn't, because as of right now, he still has a movie in development, and they already cast it. So I would say Blade would not be available.
Oh, you do that.
Okay.
It's gonna be the most incredible Blade movie ever.
You hate The Incredibles.
Nah, and you know what? Throw Moon Knight.
I hope she didn't say you hate the Incredibles. That'd be blasphemy. But yeah, Blade would be a great go-to. But another thing with that, I would want to see more of Blade. But if you had a chance, you have $250 million to do it. That's why when I was doing it last night, I think it was last night, I was trying to think of like the money. How can I get this done? Would I do street level? I go through a lot, but we'll go a little bit further.
Knight in there too.
Oh.
He said Moon Knight.
I mean Moon Knight in there too.
Moon Knight's already created.
Yeah, Moon Knight's already there.
Oh, wait, I can't do that?
Nope.
What, can I make a caveat? Can I make a team?
It's saying it expired in June 2023. The Hulk thing.
The rights went back.
Can I make a team movie with characters
Team?
that are already
Champions?
As long as, listen, again, you can't bring nobody back to life. You can't step on the toes of any of the movies right now, and there is no sequel. So just tell your story and go.
They don't really have much of a story. I'll let it
All
play
right.
out.
So in that case, I'll probably do either my own version of the Sinister Six movie, or
See, the problem with that is, I think a lot of you have to do characters that are not, because one of my top picks does kind of get into this funky area, but they have to not be really involved with anything. So you'd have to pick, and that kind of screws a lot up with Brand New Day, because we have different, from different worlds. We got Dr. Octopus and stuff like that. They technically could say you're stepping on toes, because what if we want to bring them back someday? Now, I doubt they would, and I don't know how you would do it in a Sinister Six movie, bring him back somehow. If you're going to do all fresh takes, that kind of wouldn't, it'd be weird. I guess we don't have a Dr. Octopus in this universe. We don't have a Lizard in the MCU. We have a Kraven the Hunter on the other side. You could do some things. You could make some kind of Sinister Six, but it just would be, you'd have to walk a thin line, I think. But yeah, and it's about to be over. They don't really give that many ideas. I gotta watch the whole podcast to see if they go deeper in this, because when I check out things, it's basically me going through reels.
if I want to go the hero route, I do side characters.
Marvel gives you.
And that's the whole thing. Side characters. Yeah, that's the whole thing here. We're trying to sit here and think, and I was up all night for about an hour going and deep diving. I first went off the fact if I had to do a standalone, and a person would never get it, and I'd just be put my heart onto it, would be Luke Cage. Unfortunately, Luke Cage is already made, but Luke Cage, I think you'd be able to make a really good movie. Dark, gritty. $250 million is perfect amount to make that kind of movie. It just would work, and then you could tell his story. I would leave the origin kind of out there, like people would just kind of talk about it or something. I wouldn't focus on the movie being like an origin story. It'd be him in something where he has to go and deal in crackheads, basically. Make it very high intense fighting and action movie. And then if not, Heroes for Hire. If you didn't have Iron Fist, the only problem is I would love to see these guys in other things. But I think with Luke Cage, because it would be a passion project, because Luke Cage is one of my favorite superheroes, I would be a little bit okay telling his story and then like ending it with he's just the protector of Harlem, and that's kind of the end of the story. And he wants to stay that way and doesn't want to go anywhere else, basically. But can't do that anyways, regardless of what I think. But again, I don't want him in a sequel. I want him in the Avengers eventually someday. I don't know if we'll ever see it. Who knows? Every freaking 10 years we get a new lineup and we have to wait forever for it. And like, look how long we waited for Fantastic Four. It was just crazy. So then I went through a bunch of things. I was like, maybe Brother Voodoo. I could do a really good Brother Voodoo. But then I was thinking, I think an Easter egg in Doctor Strange is his brother Jericho is one of the sorcerers. So technically, you'd be stepping on toes with something they're already setting up, they could say, no, we may touch Brother Voodoo in the future, so you can't touch Brother Voodoo. That's the thing that I was like, okay, because Brother Voodoo would be an easy go-to to make a cool story. I think it'd work. I love the aesthetics of it. That just Bayou looking vibe. I think the first appearance of him in the cover, I just love it. He's not like my super favorite superhero, but I just think it worked so well as a one shot. Then of course I was thinking, okay, it's all like dark characters, so like Blade, and I was like, no, Blade, they kind of casted him already. I'm like, Man Thing would be great because Man Thing has a really cool origin story, but then he doesn't talk that much. But I'm like, but he's in the short presentation for Werewolf by Night, and Werewolf by Night would be great for a one shot. He doesn't need to be around afterwards. He got that one off, and I just kept going down and down. And I'm like, oh my god, the Hood would be so good. The Hood came out by himself. It was like a mini series. I got to talk to the writer at a convention, and he told me it was his Image type character, the Image comics, put in a Marvel world. I loved the Hood. Brian K. Vaughan wrote it. Robbie Parker, I believe his name is. He's just a thief. It could be a really good story. He finds a cloak and ends up using that cloak to do more thievery. He's got a baby on the way. He's got, I believe she's his girlfriend in the story. And you could literally just copy that story, basically. Maybe do some tweaks, and it'd be grounded. The only problem is Dormammu possesses the cape, so you'd have to change that. But we can't do that because Ironheart took him and made, I don't know, Mephisto made it possessed somehow. I don't know if they made it where it's like a demon's in it or whatever, but in the comics, Doctor Strange finds out Dormammu is possessing the cape. So, again, it doesn't matter. Much as I would love to, I can't do the Hood, and I would love the Hood. Then I went to the Sentry. I'm like, Sentry would be really good because I love the Sentry, but we got him in Thunderbolts. So then I'm like, even if we didn't get him in Thunderbolts, how would I do it? And I just thought, you know what, it'd be way too hard. It'd have to be like a Ragnarok movie where you have someone else in there with him, because you can't have Bob just sitting there fighting with his own emotions by himself, having the Void come out, and we would also need a villain. And I don't think we want to see him fighting the Void all the time. The Void should be something that, like, an internal thing, not coming out, because a lot of times in the comics it's very internal. The idea that he was erased from history in the comics was really cool. In his origin story, he learns just crap. It's just he was a junkie and he just grabbed pills and was trying to get high, and he got some super soldier serum basically somewhere, and all these drugs made him Sentry. You could tell a decent story, but it'd have to be like darker. I don't know. I don't think people would take to it. Then I thought Squadron Supreme, right? And it's just too much. It's too Justice League, like Hyperion. But there is a character in there that I might flip over to other story. So I was like, yeah, and I was like, I don't think they have any ideas with any of them, but like Nighthawk and stuff like that. But I'm just like, it just would be Justice League kind of, and I don't know. But I mean, you could do it, but for $250 million, it'd be really hard. And I think that's a big point in this challenge here. You have to think about the money being put up here. So I'm trying to think what any other ones that I thought would be good ideas that I was like, they're good, but I couldn't do it. Like I said, I always say I'm surrounded by a bunch of Venom stuff. My computer's Venom all over and Venom everywhere. You could do Venom because he's done, technically. So you're not stepping on toes, but I believe from the rumors, he's going to play a part in Brand New Day and the symbiote in some kind of factor. So I would think that automatically would take him out of the equation. And if not, Sony and Marvel would tell you no, because that's their cash cow. So you'd be stepping on toes during that. I mean, look, you could make a Kraven movie. You could make a Rhino in the movie. You could do a Madam Web movie. Morbius. We learned you could do movies with all these people. But unfortunately, they're under control over certain people. So it's kind of hard to find out what you can use and not use. But you got to kind of separate that. So let's go down to the ones that I thought maybe we could do. Sleepwalker. Sleepwalker was one that I thought could work. Let's just get an image up. Hopefully none of my dirty stuff pops up on here. Sleepwalker. No, I want it like that. Yeah, I was doing this literally the whole night, like looking up things. So Sleepwalker is pretty dope. You're not gonna see too much of him on these pictures because they're all far on the side, and when I clip these, they're not gonna be shown. But yeah, Sleepwalker is interesting. I could do it as a one-off, very easy one-off. The only problem is he has to have the host. History in the Fitting Gauntlet. During the battle against Magus, Sleepwalker battles various evil doppelgangers. Oh, that's Infinity War of Heroes, while also pretending to be his evil doppelganger. He also helped defeat Magus forces by channeling the mental powers of Professor X, Jean Grey, and Psylocke and Moondragon. Do not remember that Infinity War. So Infinity War is not the movie Infinity War. It's a different... after Infinity Gauntlet, there's a couple Infinity events in the comics that happen after that. Nightmare did come up in my ideas, but I think Nightmare would be too close to Doctor Strange, and I think they wouldn't let you touch it because it's connections with Doctor Strange. He's considered one of the deadliest enemies of Sleepwalker, the Dream Police, of the Sleepwalkers' Dream Police, because that's a weird thing, but that's what Sleepwalkers do. He was unable to influence them due to them not needing to sleep, and a plan to change this, he entered the mind of Sleepwalker's human host Rick. He used his mind to send Sleepwalker mad, finally allowing him to access people's minds. He sacrificed his way home to prevent the Nightmare from harming his people. If you could use Nightmare, that would be great. That'd be awesome. I think to use Sleepwalker and have Nightmare, I think you could do a great one-shot movie. You can make it under the budget, I believe. Only issue, again, is Nightmare, I think, would be off limits. Because I know Nightmare was considered for the... Why isn't this closing out? It was for the Multiverse of Madness before that came out. Nightmare was in talks to either be in it or they're going to use him as the villain in the next Doctor Strange movie, but they changed it to Multiverse of Madness. Which makes me think you'd be stepping on toes because you'd be doing something that they already have in the chamber somewhere. And they probably be like, no, we may use him someday. We may, whatever. Sleepwalker, I can pretty much guarantee they're never going to use Sleepwalker. He's part of the Dream Police, which sounds really goofy. They have apprehend beings that invaded sleeping minds of humans. Sleepwalker was tricked by his long-term foe known as Cobweb, who, like Sleepwalker, has a real name that is unpronounced by human language. They're kind of like alien demon type people. It's really interesting. So he's tricked by Cobweb, which is actually a cool name, entering the mind of one individual, Rick Sheridan, and becomes trapped. So you'd have to have Rick in the story and Sleepwalker. The only problem is when Rick goes to sleep is the only way when Sleepwalker comes out. So it'd be boring when we have Sleepwalker. It'd be boring when we had Rick out. Rick would have to be somewhere sleeping while Sleepwalker did his things. So I think at first glance, I'm like, man, that just would be so boring. But I would have to do some things to wrap around it, figure out different ways to change, just like MCU makes changes on things. I think you would have to just change things. Rick reacted by tearing off Sleepwalker's Imaginator, a badge-like device worn by Sleepwalkers used to teleport around their home plane. The Mindscape. Oh yeah, the Mindscape plays a big thing. That was a cool idea, I thought, too. Could materialize in reality. He could stay in Rick's mind and converse with him via dreams. It was through conversation in dreams, and Sleepwalker was able to dispel Rick's initial fears that he was a malicious entity and worked out an agreement in terms of cohabitation. So the problem is, for Sleepwalker to get out, he has to have Rick sleep. So I was like, you could do it like a Venom where he could hear him and stuff. That would be cool. But then to make him like go to sleep and like basically that's like his kryptonite is whoever's going after him when he's in the real world could just go to the guy that's sleeping and you just kill him. Um, it's just weird. It says some of these could be considered corny even by standards of their day. Some things include billiard-based 8-ball, ultra nerdy bookworm, prison escapes, the chain gang, hypnotic Santra's lullaby. Yeah, I think there's something here. I think there's something here that you could do. Definitely a one-shot. Show them to the Marvel world in the MCU. Give them a special presentation. You wouldn't need a sequel. But I just don't know if I would want to put my heart and soul in this. Put my name on it and be like super happy with it. Then I thought about Darkhawk. Darkhawk is interesting, but what really concerned me about Darkhawk was he may cost a lot to do. He's got a really good image. Not image, but he's got a good aesthetic. Is that what I'm thinking of? Just pleasing to the eye, how he looks. Very cool. I think it reminds me of the Guyver a lot. If anyone watched, it's an old movie. It's a weird superhero. I don't know if it's even Japanese. I can't remember. I watched it when I was a kid because there wasn't many superhero movies. But the Guyver was someone. Darkhawk was someone that I was thinking of. They did animated versions of him. Moon Girl's Past, Marvel Action Hour in the 90s. Oh, I did not know that. So I thought possibly it would work because Dark Knight ends up finding like an amulet, that gives him the powers. This is a 616. Gives him the powers, and the biggest thing for me was, as I know he's part of the Annihilation Saga. I believe he is. I can't remember. I think he is. The Annihilation Saga was super dope, but I'm pretty sure he was in that. I don't see it popping up here though. Let's see if it comes up real quick, because with like Super Skrull, Ronin, Seventh Cosmos, Ego the Living Planet, Kree, Skrulls. I know they were in a big storyline. I swear it was the Annihilators or Annihilation or something like that. So anyways, I think he doesn't have enough connections where it would really ruin it for you, because it is stuff with Kree and Skrulls and other stories, but you don't really need to have that in there. There's a lot of different things. The Null somehow tied to it. You couldn't do anything with that because that would connect to Venom, and if I made a Venom movie, I'd want sequels. I'd want a lot of them, because you got to get to Carnage and make a better one than the one we had, and make him like Carnage and not some weak guy that cries about stuff. And have other stories with him. I want to get to Agent Venom. I want to get Null eventually. I couldn't do a one shot of Venom. I'd be too upset. But yeah, so I thought possibly Darkhawk. So originally there was no multiverse. I don't want to read all this. I just wanted to give his basically his bio, but this is like a million different things that he got into, which is cool, but you can't really dig into a lot of these. Gamma bombs, Charles Xavier, all kinds of stuff's being brought up. It's weird, they're not giving me just like a regular bio of him. Pen particles, non-race. Yeah, this is maybe a wrong page. This was kind of what it was like. Like I said, doing the whole thing for the night. I was mainly on my phone doing it though. He was in Secret Invasion. Is there Annihilation in here? Shadow War. We'll give it quick dark. I just remember him being really popular in the 90s. Everyone thought he was gonna be like a big thing. And he wasn't. His comics first print, people still speculate on it. And always think that It might go up someday. I don't know why. And this kind of connecting with New Warriors too was around the same time. But the only things I could think of New Warriors, you can't use Nova because they did the Nova Core. Speedball would be boring. I don't think he connects anyone. There's Thrasher and Rage, but they're kind of just boring setups. You would just have them street level guys, and I don't think it'd be an easy money making. But would people go see it? I think with this challenge, you got to think: am I worried about people gonna come and see this? Because will they see, or if you put it on like Netflix special feature, we'll say, Disney special feature, we'll say, will people appreciate it? I think Sleepwalker would be someone that would get into it once you like kind of, because I mean, Werewolf by Night, people don't know shit about Werewolf by Night, but we got Man Thing in it, Elsa Bloodstone in it. There's a lot of cool things in it. But yeah, so Dark Knight was up there. It transforms into a consciousness into the Dark Hawk's alien android, while at the same time it switches the robotic body parts and that of his own body wherever he is at any time. So it is advanced Shi'ar technology, so the Shi'ar can't be involved at all. We would have to drop that. The armor enhances his strength. Superhuman levels, he was able to knock out Venom. Don't know. I remember that Venom being in the comic, but I don't know how strong he is. Flight, self-repair, superhuman vision. He's just basically all around 90s superhero. Give him everything. I think it would work. The only problem is he doesn't have a good enough story where it just really seems like you're getting into Green Lantern. I even brought up the Runaways. But I was like, oh, they had their own TV show already. And I was like, wait, about Deathlock? Oh, they're in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. So this was rough. For me. Darkhawk was brought aboard in Avengers West Coast. That's fine. You're not stepping on toes because we don't have to bring him into that. He could just be Darkhawk. Yeah, so I don't know what page I was on before. I was talking about Nolan stuff. I'm like, oh, I don't remember that. But so Chris Powell was a teenager, son of a Mike Powell cop, and I believe he catches his dad doing a bribe right here from a mob boss while trying to escape his brother's henchman. He discovered an amulet, I keep saying that wrong, that transforms him into Darkhawk armor. When his father disappeared after Chris saw him, he swore to use Darkhawk armor to edge against crime. I don't know, 90s lingo. He often teamed up with Spider-Man, Speedball, New Warriors, and Turbo. I don't know what Turbo is. But yeah, so it just seems a little too Power Rangers for me when I start thinking about it. Yeah, I don't know. Like, it's definitely something like on this challenge that I could touch on, and people don't. People could let me go, and I could do work with it. They're gonna say, "Yeah, you're not stepping on any toes. It'll work. You could just do your own thing." But I just don't know if I really want it. It just felt very Green Lantern and very Power Ranger like. More, I love Power Rangers, but it's just. And then like the villains, I think you need to know some kind of well-known villain. I don't know. There's other ways to get around it. So I kind of put that on the back burner with Sleepwalker. I say on way too much, but yeah. So it was a tough one. But it's hard to say again. You can't use a villain that's in the Marvel world that they're using or about to use. I would say that's stepping on toes. But I thought Richard Rider, and I thought about Nova. I thought about Sam Nova. You can't do that because it still connects to the Nova Core, and they have that in Guardians of the Galaxy. So then I thought Ghost Rider. This is the one I think is easy, because I think you could do Ghost Rider. I don't see them having anything tied to him right now. No stepping on toes. I believe they own them now. No distribution problems. No way connecting. But the only problem is Robbie Reyes was in the S.H.I.E.L.D. show, which is under the MCU banner. And they do show one of the original writers pulling him around at one point. I don't know if that would mean that we're stepping on toes and we can't touch something that's already been done. But I think that would be the easiest one because it's already gonna be good. The budget would be rough. But I would. The only problem is I would want a sequel. There's a lot to be told in a Ghost Rider story. Oh, not Johnny Blaze. Johnny Blaze. Johnny Blaze is Ghost Rider. So that's groovy, right? But there was a time where Johnny Blaze was not Ghost Rider, and what was his name? I want to say Keys. Danny Ketch. Danny Ketch was these are all I want 916. I want 619 or 616. God, think of Rey Mysterio. I don't know what that one is. But I was like, you could do Danny Ketch already as Ghost Rider, and while there was times where Johnny Blaze teamed up with him, he rocked like kind of a long ponytail mullet type vibe, and he shot a shotgun with Hellfire. It was pretty dope. I can see it as a movie where he's teaching the new guy basically, or maybe Ketch has been it for a little bit, but he's like slacking, and then Johnny Blaze comes into it and they get into some shenanigans. Not so much a buddy cop movie, but like they work together somehow, dealing with some kind of demon stuff. So we couldn't use Mephisto. Midnight Suns, I thought about Midnight Sun characters, and I'm like, there's really not much you could do with Midnight Suns. I'm gonna look real quick. Ghost Rider Blade. I say anyone else's names. Ghost Rider, Johnny Blaze, Lilith. Lilith would be interesting, but I think it would be too connected to Doctor Strange. If we could get Lilith, that'd be a good villain. Mother of Demons, her children, Lillian from the shadow side. But Morbius is in it. It deals with the Darkhold. We've already been to the Darkhold. Hannibal King has already been in a Blade movie. I don't know if that would take us out of the running. I don't know who Frank Drake is, though. I don't know who Frank Drake is. There's one person I didn't think about last night, but I was thinking about it today. Or I didn't talk about it, but I thought about it when I was going to bed. Doctor Strange uses magic to rebuild Las Vegas Hotel Inferno. This is a really cool story. I like that a lot. But yeah, so all these guys, Dr. Voodoo, man, oh God, I wish I could get my hands on them if I was doing this. Strange Academy would be a really sick show. But again, you're messing with property. But so I think you could use Johnny Blaze. They show him as Ghost Rider. He's the first Ghost Rider. But put him in the side when he loses. He gets the power back. I forgot how, but where he in the 90s was hanging out with Ketch. You could do a story with that. The villains would be kind of hard. Demon Zarthos. Could be. I remember him just because I play a HeroClix game. Could deal with him as a villain. That'd be kind of cool. Blood Cult and his fellow demon Mephisto. Can't touch Mephisto because unfortunately he's an Ironheart, so you'd be stepping on toes with that. With Ghost Rider, it's just hard, and like I said, especially that Robbie Reyes would be kind of interesting just to do on your own. But again, one shot, I don't know. Ghost Rider needs more sequels, I feel. But I'm trying to see what would work best for me, and can I end it in a way if I got a Marvel special presentation like Man Wolf and Punisher's special presentation. So this is kind of what pushes me all out of the window. This is who I thought about last night. Damien Hellstorm. But I'm pretty sure Damien Hellstorm had some low-key show. Damien Hellstorm. What's this right here? MCU compilation? I don't know all about compilation, but I think it was a TV series. TV show. Yeah. So Hellstorm did get it. Damien and Anna Hellstorm have a son and daughter of a mysterious, powerful serial killer. The siblings have a complicated dynamic as they track down terrorizing the worst of humanity. I was like, dude, Damien Hellstorm, I believe he's called Damien Hellstorm, son of Satan in the comics. And I was like, that's such a cool idea. Then I was like, wait, I think they did a show of him, and it wasn't too long ago. It was 2020, 6 years ago. And I was like, wow, you can't do him. So I was like, all these darker characters I think would be easier to do because there would be kind of street level with like TV show CGI-ish, you know, just like how the show was probably. But yeah, so I did think of Red Devil Dinosaur, but I was like, I don't really want to do that. I don't think that would be fitting. And then I thought of Squirrel Girl. You can make something funny with Squirrel Girl. I don't think she has any connections. They were going to have a show with Squirrel Girl a while back. They casted her even. Now, is that something they have in their back pocket? Maybe. I don't know. But I wouldn't want to touch it. Because if you got a chance to make this one movie, one shot, and then I said, you know, if you really went out there, you could do like goofy people like Gwynpool, then I'm like, it kind of doesn't work because you're stepping on Deadpool's area. Then I said, you know, it sucks. Even Guardians of the Galaxy had Howard the Duck, so you can't do a Howard the Duck movie. So it came into this hour-long video of me going through all these characters, figuring out, are they connected somehow? Are they connected somehow? Then I kind of was getting myself out of it, just trying to be honest. So Lilith, that's funny going across her name. One story tells Lilith began a member of heavenly hosts, wife of Samuel, who became Satan. Lilith and Samuel are more often quoted Lucifer, so it's not Mephisto. Led a rebellion against heaven, but lost, and they were cast out into hell, along with Lucifer, Asmodeus, and Pazuzu, among others. With Samuel as the failure, Lilith abandoned him to seek her own future. Lilith's origin as a member of the heavenly host, who sided along Satan against heaven and its version of the Vatican stands by. So, she may be able to be used. It does say she's connected to Mephisto somehow. I know she's dealt with the Midnight Suns. Yeah, it says over here. Lillian is her name? I know she's Lilith, but is that like her real name or something? It says Lilith. I don't know if it says real name. She was involved in Secret Invasion. Oh, was she in Secret Invasion? During the Skrull invasion in Maryland, it was able to cause M13, Pete Wisdom, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, doesn't seem really cool. Nothing with her, really. I guess she was in it. Merlin's kind of interesting to have in, but that's kind of a whole different story there. Yeah, so Lilith may be an easy villain to use, now that I think about it. Lilith states that after leaving Adam, she went to the devil, Samuel, but by her own account, Mephisto, with who conceived many children. The devil eventually grew bored with her and cast her out of hell. Problem is, if they do connect it to Mephisto, we can't do Mephisto because he's already an Ironheart. But since Lilith hasn't been used at all, you could switch it up and make Mephisto not be a thing. Make it just be some kind of demon. Just like if I did the Hood and was able to, if he never got made, I would just make it some other generic demon that they have a million of in Marvel, be possessing the cloak. I wouldn't make it Dormammu. And I think even in the story, you don't find it's Dormammu. I think in the new Avengers, you find out it's Dormammu. And the Hood goes on to do crazy cool things. He ends up being like a kingpin kind of, running the criminal underworld, just putting people in check. It's just, he's such a freaking cool character, man. But yeah, so I don't know. I just know Lilith a lot because Midnight Suns. So that's what I kind of know. She may have participated in the creation of the first vampire. She may have been the mother of some of the ancient. I don't know what the ancient is. She also claimed to have ruled over Atlantis. So there's a lot going on here. But it's a good enough character that I think we could step away from and not get caught up in stuff. So possibly, again, I don't want to make this super long. I try to keep it 30 minutes at the most. So Zathros, it has the Hood connected to him. Something happens with the Hood. Following the loss of Talia, Blaze went to confront Spider Monster. Blah 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 blah. Before settling within the recent depowered Hood, finding a kindred spirit in him. So he becomes like a. He went through different hosts, which included a poor single mother named Lisa, Skyrim, Danger, Brood, Craven, and then the Hood. Yeah, because I remember something about his name, but I know he deals with Ghost Rider. That's the only problem. I don't know if he's a Keystone. I've read a good amount of Ghost Rider. I know the name, but I don't remember him really dealing with him. It says Johnny became the Ghost Rider once again, which left the Hood to be damned in hell. So if you want to go kind of the demon route and stuff with Lilith in this, but the only problem is Ghost Rider seems to play a big part of Zathros. In the days of pre-Calamatic Atlantis, a mystery group of powerful beings known as the Order of the Midnight Suns or the Spirit of Vengeance banded together to oppose him. So, unfortunately, with Ghost Rider being involved, let's see what it says about the Order of the Midnight Suns. With Ghost Rider being involved, I think this would cut it out. I think we wouldn't be able to use them. But you can make a Morbius movie with Morbius. This is so dumb. Another incarnation of Midnight Suns was formed by Morbius. I forgot about that. I just saw Morbius and started thinking. So, that was another idea. Ghost Rider was one I thought was an easy way out. But then I finally realized Robbie Reyes. Robbie Reyes got used. I fill this up with water. Robbie, I hate that I do these always like I'm live. And I don't care. I have fun doing them like this. I just was like, Robbie Reyes basically introduced the Ghost Rider. You be stepping on toes because they probably have it in their back pocket, and they probably were like, no, you can't touch this property because we already introduced Robbie Reyes, and we did show a Ghost Rider, so we may touch back on a Ghost Rider. I think there'd be ways where you have to get someone just D-list character. Then what I think really could work, I think it could work, and it gets filmed the way I want to film it. I like I don't know why I'm forgetting his name. I don't know what you would call it, like I don't like this Red Wolf. I don't like old westerns, but I like Magnificent Eleven, right? And like Tombstone. I'm trying to think, but like those, like, you know, within the last few years, I don't like the old school westerns. I don't like that. I like the gritty, you know, Unforgiven type vibe. And I honestly would do it under a John Wick style of a Native American. We don't get much Native American out there. We got Echo representation, but to not really have someone to represent a different culture, I think people would jump on that idea that maybe this is something different and it'd work for a presentation. I'll tell you my favorite one though. My favorite one that I was like, I would do this in a heartbeat. Only problem was I would love to keep writing it, but this is my main pick. But I'm still, why do I write Red Skull? I'm gonna look at a different Red Wolf. So there's a bunch of different Red Wolves, but basically Red Wolf is like, he's basically like Black Panther. He has, is passed down through, I don't know if it's through family type of thing, but it's there's several red wolves, so it's basically a mantle. So you could start with like any of the red wolves. The main one I like, I don't think this is him. The main one I like is the red wolf that joins the Avengers eventually. Now you could say, well, he has connections to the Avengers. Not necessarily. Kang ends up bringing him to Marvel world or whatever somehow, and he does join for a little bit, but he's not like you know, a prominent Avengers character. But I do like the idea of Red Wolf a lot. And if you think of like Magnificent 11, I believe, 6, 7, Magnificent 7, there you go. If you think of like that, they had a really cool Native American guy that just ran around shooting his bow and arrow, taking people out, fought dude with a knife hand to hand. If we could do that, someone getting the mantle and going John Wick in a Western vibe, but him wearing the dope, you know, Red Wolf outfit, I think it would be sick. I think it would work. It'd definitely be doable with 250 million. I definitely think it could work. This is Red Wolf Volume 2. I like the look of this one. You're not gonna probably see a lot of it, but I like the look of this one a lot, where he has like tribal stuff all over him and stuff. But he's mainly known for the red cloth, the wolf hat, I don't know what you want to call it, garment, and he has his dog Lobo. So that'd be kind of cool to have him with his dog. And the best thing about Red Wolf would be, again, you could pick any of the Red Wolves that have gone through, and you could like literally make it like a revenge story or something, and he could like, I think of Leon the Professional. If anyone has seen that, look it up. It's a great movie. He ends up, spoilers, he ends up dying at the end after he like saves the girl and all that. He like sacrifices himself. I think it'd be all right to lose Red Wolf, maybe final battle, fight, whatever, and he ends up dying during it, you know, bleeding out after he kills the bad guy or whoever it is. But there's a lot of different stories with it, stuff that deals with reservations. I also thought about the Acronauts, I believe they're called. Microdonts. But I believe it's really goofy. But I believe they are stuck to the quantum verse, or the quantum, what do you want to call it? That's not how they're pronounced. Acronauts? No, that's not the ones I'm thinking of. Unless it says something about the, what's it called? This deals with King the Conqueror, handpicked commandos, greatest warriors. You could do something like that, but I don't think people would want to watch it. Just not have King be the guy that picks them. Red Wolf is from 1760. Does it bring up King? He was picked by King to be a member of the warriors that he was picking out, the greatest warriors of all time. So you don't have to touch this King or this Red Wolf, but I like the idea that this is where Red Wolf started, and I like the vibe of him, how he looks, and I would probably do that look. And I think he has enhanced senses, superb tracking ability. He's a superb tracker, hunter, woodsman. He also is an exceptional hand-to-hand combat. This would be really grounded to, like, you know, like I said, like a John Wick, but I'd want to do it with a Native American going through people. And I think this could work. This would be one of the ones I'd probably put my money on that would be out there, like Man Wolf. Because Man Wolf, not everyone knows Man Wolf, and people loved it. So I think if I did something like this and made it just so badass, where it's literally, like I said, John Wick, Equalizer, something where he's just on a vendetta, but he fights really cool with bow and arrows, knives. Of course, we'll have no guns. Maybe the Cowboys will have guns. And the Rawhide Kid is a goofy character, but he's involved in it somehow. I believe Rawhide Kid joins the Avengers at some point. I think you could have someone like that in it. But yeah, I just really think he could work. It says Wild Run right here. I don't know why it says Wild Run. But I really think I could work with this. I think I can make Red Wolf. Oh, Wild Run is the name of the Red Wolf that King pulls out. I think I could work with this and adapt all these together. Great grandson of John Wakely. John Wakely is Red Wolf of the Old West. Whatever. You could pick whatever ones you want, mix them together, and make them some kind of story where people wouldn't have to lock in so hard and be like, get too connected at first, where they're like, I don't know this guy, I don't really want to, get into it. Then they watch it, and then they do connect to it, and then you do care that he dies, but then it's just kind of like his own story. It's over. We don't need to see him like in an X-Men movie, an Avenger movie. It told his own story. Man-Wolf, I don't know if they're going to do that. Man-Thing, I hope not. I love Man-Thing. So I hope we see more Man-Thing. Werewolf by... I said Man-Wolf. Werewolf by Night is cool, but I don't know what more they'd use him for unless they go towards the Midnight Suns and do Doctor Strange maybe, pulling up other people. But this is like one I'd put my money on. For the money they're giving me, $250 million, doesn't have to have a sequel. And you can't step on any toes. I think I'm safe. I think everything would work for Red Wolf. So I'd be banking on a lot here. Banking on a lot of hope for this one. I put a lot of not money. I put a lot of heart into it. Dig deep in like all these stories and figure out what's the best way to put it together. Make it a timepiece, a Western thing, so we know again he's not going to show up in any future things because it's back in the day. I just think it'd be really cool to see a badass Native American superhero. I think it'd be cool. I think it'd rock. I think that's what I would do. But what I really, really want to do, that'll be the last thing I talk about, is if I had my way and could have fun, the only problem was after people would watch this, they would want a sequel. Okay? They would want a sequel after they watch this. And I probably would fall in love making this and would want a sequel. I was thinking about Superior Foes of Spider-Man. So Superior Foes of Spider-Man, they came out during when Dr. Octopus took over Spider-Man, which I hated that storyline where Peter died and Dr. Octopus transferred his body or his head mind into Peter. So during that time, the Superior Foes of Spider-Man came together. Now you could drop the Spider-Man and Superior Foes you could maybe use. I think that would be fine. And the only issues are it's Beetle, Wizard, I believe. That sounds weird to say. But I'm pretty sure Wizard, Overdrive, Boomerang, and Shocker. So the issue is Boomerang is going to be in the Spider-Man movie. We've already seen clips of it and pictures of it. The only way of not stepping on toes would be, can I use this character for my movie? Because it's not going to affect you guys. In the long run, you're using him as a punching bag for Spider-Man. And he would work perfect for the story because Boomerang leads the Superior Foes. And then the only other thing is Shocker is kind of in Homecoming, Spider-Man Homecoming. Because they use the gauntlets. They never call him the Shocker, but he has a jacket that looks like the Shocker. So with that being said, I think I could get away with using the Shocker. And then we got Overdrive. He's their getaway car guy. Beetle, who's the daughter of the original Beetle. Boomerang and Wizard, I want to say. It sounds dumb to say, but I think it's Wizard. And they are great. This series is so good. It is funny. Shocker is like the dummy out of the group. It's just good action and comedy. I would do it. It would be filmed like Kick-Ass. They would look like those kind of costumes. And I would do it Ocean's 11 style, but just dumb. We would see them trying to pull off heists, and they screw up a lot when they're trying to pull off heists. We would see them trying to pull off heists, and then eventually they're going to get into something bigger and get like maybe blackmailed into a big one. And it may be a little bit Reservoir Dogs with a comedy spin on it. Turning on each other, but then not, and coming together. And again, I think it could be so well done and funny, because if you've read these, they're really goofy and funny. It's like the Justice Lake Avengers, whatever they're called. It's just like a dumb, and it's funny. I even thought about that, the Great Lake Avengers. And it's like Impossible Man was using the She-Hulk TV show. You can't even touch the Great Lake Avengers. It's just crazy. So all these people are hard. It's hard to make these movies, basically, with these rules. But Superior Foes would be, I think, the number one that I would really like to make. The only problem is the bullseye. I'm sorry, the boomerang. You'd have to get permission for him because he's not really stepping on toes so much. If you want someone like Craven, they'd probably say no because we already have a Craven movie, and on top of it, we used him for a movie and we used the rights of him, and on top of that, the MCU may want to be holding him off for another movie. Boomerang, they're not going to. He's literally in the trailer as a throwaway bad guy. It's like how Fantastic Four used Red Ghost. So that's what they're going to do with that. So I would think, I'm like, it's a throwaway character. This would actually help my arc of him being this loser, putting together a gang to rob things. And then the Shocker is the only other issue. And the Shocker would be, have to not relate to Homecoming where the guy's jacket looks like the Shocker and the gauntlets. Because the gauntlets can be found by anyone. The only thing that kind of made him look like the Shocker was the jacket. I don't know if they ever say Shocker in it. To my knowledge, they don't. I could be wrong. But to my knowledge, they don't say Shocker. So I think I could get away with Superior Foes. I said the only problem besides that would be people would want a sequel. An Ocean's 11 style with a bunch of dumb, idiotic, CD-less supervillains would be hilarious. They have to have no connections with Spider-Man. Shocker can't mention Spider-Man. I don't know. Boomerang, is he a Spider-Man villain? I don't really think of him as a Spider-Man villain. Same with Beetle. I don't think of Beetle as a superhero, Spider-Man villain. I really don't know what would Boomerang fall under. But Shocker would be the only one that has real connection with Spider-Man, as far as what I've seen in the comics and when he pops up all the time. So I think that would be the only one they might have issues releasing to you, even though they kind of are going to be like, well, we kind of used him already, but we kind of didn't. I'm like, great. I could just make another guy, use his real name, I believe his name's Herman, use the real Shocker, because we never get the other guy's name, and I believe it's not Herman, to my acknowledge, or my idea here. I believe it's not Herman. IMDb. We're gonna get off this soon because we're taking way too long again. I don't want this to be an hour long. It took an hour long the first time because I was literally like stuck here, like sitting talking to myself, going through my head of all superheroes and googling people with powers, looking up Darkhawks and how this would work and that would work. Oops. I'm just really curious if they call him Shocker in Homecoming, because that would be a maker or breaker, I believe. If they called him Shocker, I would not be able to use it at all, because they're going to say, well, we already used Shocker, we don't really want to have another Shocker, because they might let you, but comic wise there wasn't multiple Shockers to my knowledge. Right here it says Shocker 2. His name is Herman Schultz. Oh man, I called it. The Tinker is in it. Jackson Bryce is the first Shocker in this. They call him Shocker 1. I don't think they're ever called the Shocker in it, though. They're not called the Shocker. Oh, man, that sucks. And then Shocker 2 is Herman Schultz, which I believe Herman Schultz is the name, because I already said that even before I thought of anything. I believe Herman Schultz is the name of the Shocker. So we're kind of screwed in that way. You would have to ask if it's okay, but the only problem is we wouldn't get the regular, we wouldn't get the origin Shocker. We wouldn't get the guy that's Shocker, because they already named the guy Herman. So you'd have to have a whole different guy, and it would kind of ruin it. Now you could replace them with different heroes, but I'm trying to do by the rules, using a character that's original and not switching things up. Because I could be like, oh, Richard Rider is going to be Darkhawk instead of Nova. We're going to change it around. But I'm trying to play by the book here and do it fairness. That's why I like this challenge. It's really fun. Definitely check out the Entertainment District. I'm going to check out more of their videos. This is a great idea. This is a great idea to get on a podcast with and talk about everybody giving their ideas. You can't do Hulk. You can't do Midnight or Moon Knight like they wanted to. Sorry, guys. But yeah, so that really screws us up. Herman Schultz, like I said, I guessed that already, that was his name. It's Herman. and it is played by Bookham Woodbine. I don't know. He's the black dude in the movie. Does he get the Shocker? No, he gets him afterwards because they killed the first one. But I guess they're both called Shocker at some point. I don't know why they'd call them both Shocker. Like, hey, you Shocker, and the other guy Shocker. So you might have some flexibility getting him. But the only problem is you'd probably have to use this Herman. I can't remember if he dies, though. He might die. The other one does for sure. But you might be able to bring him back and use him in a way. I don't know if he'd be stepping on toes because I don't think they'd use Shocker ever again. He was so dumb and low budget. But I don't think you see this guy playing a dum-dum. And in Homecoming, he's not like a dumb dude. Like I think he's not like dumb, but like in Superior Foes, he's a dummy. He has like a Shocker mobile and stuff. It's crazy. So with all that being said, if I got to pull strings and got to sit down with Kevin Feige or whoever in the MCU, my first shout out would be Superior Foes. I don't like the idea of being a one story. But if it was my personal, you can only work on one movie once in your life, whatever. I just enjoy the comics so much. And if I could get around using Boomerang, a throwaway villain, Shocker, a throwaway villain, being like, you guys aren't using them. I'm not stepping on any toes. I know they're connected to Spider-Man, but we don't have to use them that way. They won't bring up Spider-Man. It doesn't really interfere with what they do. Now, if you have someone like Venom, it's kind of hard to make a Venom movie like they did and not have Spider-Man involved somehow. It was dumb. Like, it's just, I didn't like it. Like, some characters have connections. I can't do a Sabretooth movie because you could, but it's like it's Wolverine's villain or brother, if you want to look up whatever way you want to talk to him. I thought of Dakin, but I'm like, Dakin is Wolverine's son. It'd be really cool stories of him in Japan, but it just wouldn't work. And then I know Conan Barbarian got a license under Marvel again. A few years ago, he joined the Dark Avengers. But then I was like, Conan the Barbarian already got a movie with Arnold. You're not stepping on toes because technically Marvel could do their own. But do we want to go relive that again? Maybe make a cooler version of it? I don't really feel like it. Because I feel like it's already been decent, the first one. But yeah, so I can't do Luke Cage. I can't do the Hood. The ones I would love to do. Hood would be a great one and done. Ghost Rider, I don't think I'm able to do it. Plus, I'd want sequels with Ghost Rider. Luke Cage, I'd really love to see him join the Avengers. But if we're doing one-shots, I think I would know how to do it. Ghost Rider easily could probably do it, but there's so many connections through the dark world, dark side of Marvel, that it might be tough. And to find the proper villain. This, we could just pull up a really dumb villain and have them, like, it sucks that Stiltman was using Daredevil, Netflix Daredevil. Because you could throw him in here as, like, a dumb character, you know. And She-Hulk used a lot of dumb characters. Like, we can't even use Frogman in this movie. But, you know, do a dumb boss. If we could have access to Arcade from the X-Men universe, he's fought Spider-Man before, but if they don't connect him with X-Men that much, because even though he appeared in X-Men, I don't see them using him because he's so corny. That would be a cool villain that gets them blackmailed and puts them through hell. There's also the Owl, that's a Daredevil villain. He's a mobster type dude. Because we're already losing Tombstone, that's going to be in Spider-Man Brand New Day. We're just running out of mobster type people. And I don't want to do a corny made up one. I would want one that's a character. So, I can't do those other ones. Ghost Rider, I don't think I could touch. My number one pick would probably be Superior Foes, but I would hate that I wouldn't get to keep making sequels. To make a goofy Ocean's 11, film like Kick-Ass, their suits look like Kick-Ass, all kind of just put together, goofy. Only visual effects, really, I think the Wizard is super fast, so I don't know how we would do that. I don't know why they don't win, or why they can't steal well with the Wizard on their team. I have to, like, go through it again. Like, I don't remember. But Overdrive's our getaway guy. So, I know that much. But yeah, so this would be my go-to. But who I would have in my back pocket, and I would tell them I have my own little bit of ideas with, would be Red Wolf. Red Wolf, I think, is the easiest one to do a standalone story. People would respect the idea that you used a Marvel character like Werewolf by Night, told your own story with it, and you could make him so cool that people would be like, Red Wolf needs his own comic now. Red Wolf needs to be in the Avengers or something, even though I'd make it a time piece. It wouldn't be, everyone would hope, oh, maybe Kang could pull him back, or maybe some multiverse could pull him back. I would love to have that as a story. Or as people wanting that he's that cool. But I think you could do it. I think if you could do a John Wick-ish, The Raid, something like that, with Native American Red Wolf, he's got the mantle. He's going to use the mantle as the Red Wolf to revenge somebody, get something done, help a town, I don't know. And just make it not like so much violence, just make it action-packed, good fighting, good story. And you don't need the biggest villain because we're in a different timeline. So there might be something you could look at that's and you could throw in Rawhide Kid for a little wink. But you could throw in maybe some descendant of a villain. I mean, Back to the Future, Biff was there was another Biff in the Wild West, so that worked. Why couldn't it work for me? Use a different villain. I don't know. But this would be my project. I would do Red Wolf. With the budget, $250 million, being a standalone, not stepping on any toes, not getting sequels. I think I'd be able to make a decent Western about something like John Wick, The Raid, Equalizer. I don't want to say Jason Bourne because that seems a little too much, but basically a guy that gets the mantle and uses it to get vengeance or go help somebody. And that would be a story. And at the end, he would die during the last fight, but he would save the day. So that's what I'm going with. Red Wolf would be my pick. If I got to pull strings, I'd be doing Superior Foes. I would enjoy writing comedy. I would love to see them all together. There would be a couple things you'd have to pull around and make sure that you can use. I'm sure Superior Foes would be legal for you to use as long as you don't have Spider-Man in it. Superior hasn't really lacked on or connected with Spider-Man except for the comic, which they're never going to use that story with Dr. Octopus because I will boycott it and burn the movie theater down. Don't quote me on that. But I would use these guys, but the only problem is I think you could make this so good, people would enjoy it and would want another one. That's the only thing that would hold me back. I would love to tell this story, but that's the only thing that would hold me back. But to do a special feature, just like Werewolf by Night, I think we could do Red Wolf. I think Red Wolf is my pick. That's what I'm going to stick to. That's my Marvel feature. It's going to be based off Red Wolf. We're not going to connect it to Kang or him going to the Avengers. There's a lot of different Red Wolves. Again, there's Agents of Away Data. I don't want to say that wrong, but there are multiple Red Hoods. So you could pay homage to any of these, pick anyone you want, see what stories you can work with, and just make it a brutal revenge using axes, tomahawks, using bow and arrows, using knives. Again, if you've seen Magnificent Seven, the Indian guy that's with him, he's so savage in the parts he's in. If you do him like that, of course, he'd have to talk more than this one doesn't talk in the movie. Just do it like that, but nonstop. Him going through people, trying to track someone down or something like that, I think would work. So I've been on this way too long, but this was what I went through the other day, and hopefully this isn't an hour. But I went through it and just kept stopping and searching for other things and going through it. And yeah, it was just really hard. Really, really hard to figure out without stepping on toes, with only being able to do one story. Basically, I look at it as a Marvel's presentation. What character can I pick that would work in that? A special feature like Man-Wolf or Werewolf by Night. Man-Wolf's Spider-Man. I keep saying Man-Wolf. Werewolf by Night, that he doesn't step on any toes. We don't mess with any properties. We don't take him away from any properties. He won't need a sequel because we'll tell the story that he doesn't need a sequel. And was there another? Oh, $250 million budget. Perfect. This would be a period piece. We wouldn't need much. We'd be using a lot of Western looking vibes. So with all that challenge, I think that would be my pick to make the movie. It's a long shot. I don't know if Marvel's going to hear me out when we talk, but they gave me this thing. They gave me this challenge. They told me use a character that doesn't step on anyone's toes, and he can't have a sequel, and he can't come back from the dead, can't be a character that died already. I would love to do Brother Voodoo. That would have been awesome. Can't do him because I think his brother Jericho is in Doctor Strange. Brother Voodoo was one of the first thoughts I had. I went to Man-Thing first, or second, and then I was like, Man-Thing doesn't really work because he was in Werewolf by Night. Then I went to other characters that I really like, and it's like, I can't even do these because they're all in Marvel. Marvel's making a lot of their characters. It's crazy. It's really crazy. But Marvel's making a lot of their characters. You know, I went down that list. The Gauntlet Ghost Rider was probably the best pick. But then you remember in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., they did have Robbie Reyes. Robbie Reyes would have been a good story too. But again, you would want more Ghost Rider. If they're telling you can't have a sequel, it has to be a Marvel presentation. And Ghost Rider wouldn't work that way. And on top of it, I would want Johnny Blaze with the Hellfire gun with Danny Ketch. And it just would be too much, I think, going on. And on top of it, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. kind of opened us up to, I was going to say Doctor Strange, to Ghost Rider, unfortunately. So we wouldn't be able to use that because technically you're stepping on toes. There's another version of him out there. And not to mention, there is a scene when Robbie Reyes becomes the Ghost Rider. A Ghost Rider is pulling him out, and it looks like the Ghost Riders we all know. He looks like Johnny Blaze or Danny Ketch. So they've hinted already that he has been in the world. So you can't take that away. So do your homework. Look through all the superheroes. You could go through, like I said, Sleepwalker. I thought of Rom, but I don't know if Rom would work right. The Micronauts, but I think they deal with the Quantumverse. Sleepwalker, it'd just be too hard because he's got a symbiote kind of with him. Not a symbiote, but like the idea of a symbiotic person. He has to use the guy that's sleeping, but how do you tell a story with a guy sleeping while he's out fighting people as the time police, whatever they call them? You'd have to change that up a lot. It's really interesting, and Nightmare would be a great villain for that. But I think Nightmare's too connected to Doctor Strange because they're going to say, well, we were going to put him in the sequel, but then we decided to do Multiverse of Madness. But he's on our back burner. You can't touch him. So, Superior Foes is what I would really want. I don't think they'd give me the go for it, but this would be my guy, and I have excellent ideas for him. So Marvel, when you're ready to make it, thanks to the Entertainment District with their challenge, go check them out. I got my movie ready for you guys. And on that note, turning off OBS. I was looking at the time. Where's the time? Turning off OBS because we do no editing. And this is over an hour. Oh my God. I'm just going to upload it anyways. I don't care. This was too fun. All right. No editing, guys. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.